The Obama administration's easing of travel restrictions to Cuba is a small step, but considering that U.S.-Cuban relations have been frozen in hostility for decades, any step is significant.
It sends a signal that the U.S. is ready to engage with the Cubans on a diplomatic type of engagement that has been missing for almost 60 years.
The new policy allows Cuban Americans unlimited visits to family members on the island and permits them to send money and gifts such as clothing and personal items.
All who embrace core democratic values long for a Cuba that respects the basic human, political, and economic rights of all of its citizens. President Obama believes the measure he has taken today will help make that goal a reality.
In Havana, many people welcomed the move.
I think it's good. Now fathers and brothers can come more often to visit relatives in Cuba, and they can help in many ways.
It's likely to be broadly popular among the Cuban American community as well. Many here feel restrictions imposed by the Bush administration nearly 5 years ago are hurting ordinary Cuban citizens.
If people can travel to Cuba and give it new ideas to the people, the population in Cuba, how we live outside of Cuba. Cuba is 50 years behind the 21st century.
Despite this latest move by Obama, the nearly 50-year-old embargo against Cuba remains in place. It's one of the worst foreign policy failures in U.S. history. Communist ruler Fidel Castro remained firmly in control, defying American power and outlasting 10 American presidents, until ill health forced him to transfer power to his own brother and second-in-command, Raul. Almost every country in the world, except the U.S., has normal relations with Cuba, and a steady supply of oil and money from Venezuela's Hugo Chavez has helped the communist government survive and continue suppressing freedom of speech and political activity. Because of the embargo, the U.S. has very little diplomatic or economic leverage in Cuba. The Obama administration hopes its travel gesture will encourage Havana to allow more human rights and economic freedom. Obama has repeatedly said he would enter talks with Cuban leaders and consider lifting the embargo once the country moves toward democratic reform. Obama will attend a hemispheric summit meeting in Trinidad later this week, where he's likely to be pressed by Latin American leaders to move more boldly toward normalizing relations with Cuba. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Washington.